everyone. Welcome to this week's live stream. If you're not with us already in the theater in Terraria Central now, there is a small energy booster. The popcorn flying everywhere is giving you a little bit of energy. I did not put a portal next to the fountain this time because I thought it's in Terraria Central. We don't need one. And yet all of you are still crowding around the fountain. So if you're listening on YouTube, just walk. It's just a little tiny walk to the top of the map, and the theater is right there, and you'll get some energy. We had a big update yesterday, obviously, and we will answer all of the questions you might have. So if you have a question that you want specifically pulled up here, throw it in the YouTube live chat so that we can bring them up on screen. Keep it farmer friendly. We've got a lot to cover today. And with that, I will bring up Luke.
Hey guys. Yeah, no, super excited for this AMA today, even though it's probably going to be a tougher one than some of the ones that we have normally been doing. Obviously, there's a lot of good things we released yesterday, and a lot of things that we need to address and talk about as well too. And it's interesting because these changes.
I don't know if is it me? I don't know, your mic cut out. I don't know if it's me though. Yeah, muted. Okay, so it's not just me. Why does this always happen to you? Okay. All right, we'll just pause. I think his mic wasn't working last week, so maybe it's a similar thing. Okay, you're muted now, like StreamYard muted.
Okay, yeah, I have a.
Oh, no, you cut out again. Maybe because you moved it. Maybe the cord is faulty or something. Luke is dropping the mic. Yeah, mic drop.
We'll go MacBook mic.
You're good.
Okay, there we go. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, it's interesting because on the back end already we've been working towards changes to the way that we're approaching game, the way that we're approaching roadmap, and how I want these next few months to look like. And some of the things we did yesterday kind of are aligned with the changes that were already being made in the back end as well too. There's some interesting things we've learned over the last year or two about what we're trying to build. And, we've been trying a lot of things. We really thought at first that we were trying to build a Web 2 game that had Web 3 elements on top of it. But now what I'm realizing really is the right strategy is all of you guys here, you're Web 3 gamers. And I actually think the Web 3 gaming market is going to get much bigger. And what we really need to be building for is that Web 3 gamer. And some of the things we've been releasing have kind of been missing that point some of the times, right? When the elements of the game that you guys have really, really, leaned onto are things like game economy. It's things like, it is speculation sometimes. You guys buy up rare items and we can't figure out why. And these are the things that we need to be leaning into more and more as we are developing out the next features of Pixels, as we're working on chapter 2, and then as we're doing these updates too. And I think that's a part where we might have missed yesterday. Not might have, that's a part where we missed yesterday. We introduced some new items in the game that basically like inflated this concept of discoverability points. We released a new feature that changed how some of you were interacting with land. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we are thinking about basically as we're moving forward. We really want to be building for these people who are, here for this game, who are interacting with the game. And what we don't want to lean away from is some of these Web3 elements moving forward. For us, those elements of the game are, what actually been the most interesting part about building in Web3. It's these things like, the guess, the chase, the thrill of your items, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll address some of the questions, some of the feedback that we were getting about that update yesterday. And, these are the things that we'll be really poking into over the next few months as well. So yeah, I guess that's just where I want to start with everything. But overall, the update yesterday, we're pretty excited that we actually got the rewards boxes out to all of you. Somebody did open up the Mutant Ape Yacht Club yesterday, so that's a huge thing. I think the I think the user's name was like Drunk Ivan, right?
Yeah. Wait, what was their name?
Yeah,
I
Drunk Ivan, I'm
just read
pretty
it
sure.
too. I just read it.
Maybe it's Drink Ivan.
Anyways, someone got it, which is really, really exciting. I was
Yeah.
like, I also want to know who got special mines. I really wanted a special mine and I didn't get one. So I would love to see like screenshots. Like tag me in Discord general chat if you have a special mine on one of your lands. Like send me a picture of it. I want to see it because that was really exciting for me. There you go.
Yes, Drunk
Drunky
Ivan unboxed it. We
Drunk
don't
Ivan.
worry.
I said Drunky Van.
Drunk Ivan.
Drunk Ivan makes more sense.
Yeah, maybe it's just Drunky then. We're gonna go with that one. So yeah, don't worry, people. Also, I double checked him. We looked at all of his data. We like dug in everything. Legit player, part of the Russian community. Congrats on getting the MAYC. We'll be sending it to them at first, or we'll be sending it to them today. And then there's still a few prizes in the boxes left if you guys look. And also, if you guys want some alpha, if you click on the mystery box opening machine with an axe, you'll see the amount of prizes left in the pool. And there's still some good ones left as well. So yeah, I guess that kind of also moves into what we're thinking about with chapter 2 as well, and kind of the next stages of what we're up to. So as I was hinting, one area that we've been honestly kind of missing the mark in is really thinking about our core audience, which is Web3 gamers, and how we can best build a game for them. This is actually somewhat controversial in the space now, I think, but I think that's the important part of actually developing something new and interesting, where you need to kind of take a contrarian take to what other people in the space are doing. Right now, with what we're seeing in Web3 gaming is I am no longer a super strong believer that a Web3 game to have success needs to be a Web2 game with Web3 on top. I think Web3 games need to be as good compared to a Web2 game, especially when you're looking at retention, engagement, all of that. But I don't think it's done by building a base Web2 game and adding Web3 on top. What you really need to be doing in this space to have success is the belief that I'm coming to is developing a game that really introduces new Web3 concepts or leads into Web3 concepts that are fun. And the things that are fun are live economy. It's guessing what's going to be interesting. It's risking, things like that. And those are the things that we're thinking about a lot as we move on to the next stages. So when we're dealing with chapter 2, we're actually really narrowing down focus. Pixels, we've been pretty good at trying a lot of different things, right? We release quite often. We ship things that might not work, and we have this understanding that this is kind of building in public, and you guys are kind of live play testers as we're doing it. But the strategy over the next couple of months after we release pets, and we'll dig into that stuff too, is we'll probably start releasing a little bit less so that we can make bigger bets on what we've seen have worked so far. So the idea is we kind of really want to focus and narrow down focus onto the core game. And we're going to be building out core game enhancements. If you don't know much about game development, games are kind of built in what you call loops. So right now we have a core game loop of farming, resource collection, and crafting. And that's a fun loop on its own. But most games, they have more than one loop. And if you look in our game, we have more than one loop too. We have things like this loop through discoverability crystals. We have loops through, getting your farm more discovered. We have loops through a tax system that we have on land. We have some other stuff like that as well too. But what we're really lacking is like a much larger loop that connects all of these. So we've been debating internally is like, okay, what's the right strategy to go through when we're thinking about how we add a loop that's a bit more compelling and convincing. Convincing to really build out an amazing Web3 game. And we have kind of two routes that we could go down. We could go down more of the MMO approach, what I like to call like loose game loop integration, where basically we build out like separate mini game loops or separate game loops that kind of use these resources together. Or we could go through what I call like tight integration of game loops. And that would be more like a Clash of Clans approach. But the key thing is, Clash of Clans, if you were to dig down through their game loops, they have 3 game loops. They have a resource collection game loop. They have a building and training game loop where you build troops, you connect troops, And then you also have a battle game loop too. So, these are kinds of things that we're looking into, and we're working with game designers right now to kind of build out these systems. What you've seen over the last, 8 to 9 months is really us experimenting with the incentive layer, really trying to figure out what works, what doesn't in Web3. And now, with all this learning that we've done, it's time to execute. It's time to get something out. So, team's focus is going to shift after this pets release, after this, move to Ronin, to really building out another game loop and releasing the pixel token with it. The biggest thing that we want to be doing is making sure that the pixel token has sufficient use and sufficient integration into the game loop. Make sure that it's like very, very simple and easy to use. So, we've been making investment into 2 areas. We've been making investment into UGC tooling. We're still going to move forward with that, and we're going to release this new feature called Realms. It's basically our look into seeing, is there an interesting play with this sandbox feature, this content creation feature, this this like UGC feature. And what we've been quite interested in with what we see and how you guys interact with the game is the role-playing feature. That's been like quite a fun thing. And then potentially, if we move into UGC tooling and really go all in on sandbox, then that's something we'll probably invest more into. I've been having the team watch a bunch of Minecraft roleplay videos or like Minecraft civilization videos to kind of get a feel of like, okay, this is what this could be in the long run. So basically, we'll be making 2 bets. We'll be making a bet on sandbox content and seeing what you guys are able to produce. And then we'll be making a bet on stronger game loop with tight integration of the pixel token. Now, the ideal timeline is basically launching the pixel token with the release of chapter 2. And basically, team focus is we'll have a team that's narrowly focused. Instead of building out these like 2-week game updates, probably spend like 2 to 3 months building out this other game loop. What's really great about our core tech is that we can probably get a game loop out that tries tighter integration, gets us ready for close integration with the game loop or with the pixel token in like 2 to 3 months. So that would probably be a release date of like January to February. And at the same time, we'll be looking into things like this UGC tooling and opening up more and more of these features that we've been using to build the game loop to our users. So yeah, there's some interesting developments that have been going on in the space too. If you guys haven't been paying attention, there is a gaming token that just released by Big Time, and that's actually a very strong signal for the space as well. So we've been following all of that kind of stuff, and it's feeling like a better and better environment to go ahead and move forward with the token as well. And that's something our opinion has changed on a bit too. It's funny because I've been talking to many thought leaders in the space over the last 12 months, and as I've just been in the weeds building in the space, my opinions on some of these concepts have been getting a bit different too. I'm now of a strong belief that Web3 gaming needs tokens. I'm much more bullish on tokens than I am on like NFTs and items at sometimes as well too. And I think this last release that we did with other spec kind of proves some of those points as well. When you start to add in the incentive layer, it creates really new, interesting game loops, meta games, and gameplay that doesn't really exist in Web 2. It makes the game more fun. And yeah, I'm of the core belief that tokens are just honestly fun in general. These challenges, these prize pools, these parts of the game, like they're just great mechanics to it. So what that means too is if we're really moving into this token incentivization, we're really moving into building out a good Web3 game, is that we need to really be on top of economy. We need to be really on top of creating, expectations when it comes to items. And that's something that we kind of failed on over this last week. And that's where team focus needs to kind of shift, and we need to get significantly better around too. Like, for example, we released an item yesterday, the mushrooms, and they have a really high discoverability rate, which is a cool perk, right? It's something that's fun. But what that did was that changed the balance of other items. So now players are in the position where if they hold on to certain items, they don't have a strong expectation, or they're not able to make informed decisions around what this item is going to be doing in the game. If we're going to be releasing an item that's going to be significantly better than the item and nerf the items that they're holding, this is actually a core issue when we're thinking about Web3 gaming. So this is something that we need to get a lot better at when we move forward. So yeah, these are the things that we're thinking about. These are the things that, we're really pushing. And then, as we are making these assumptions and we're making these pushes into this direction, a lot of what I'm thinking about is like, how do we make core systemic changes to what we're doing internally to make sure that we're better around this? That's super important to us because, if we don't make changes to the way that we're operating right now, we probably won't win and have success in the space. I think that's the reality. So, as founder, as CEO of this company, of this project, it really is on me at the end of the day to make sure that we're in the right direction. We're going to be making the right moves and decisions. And yeah, it's not to at the end of the day, the blame falls on me for what the company is outputting and the direction that we're moving in. So I'm thinking about this a lot. And again, like I think all of us in this project, all of us who are here, really want to really want to see the game get better. And we're so appreciative of everybody here. So we're all aligned. We're all trying to move forward in the space and make something amazing. And yeah, it's my job to make sure that we're serving the community and serving our players in the right way, and that we're going to be moving in the right direction for that. So just keep in mind, we'll be making some changes internally. We'll be making some changes to make sure that things get better. And there's this recognition that if we don't, we're probably going to fail. So it's very serious, and the team is taking this quite seriously. So again, really appreciate the patience. We're so lucky to have some really true fans and believers building with us, and these next couple months are going to be pretty fun. So we have all this stuff in the future. We also have some stuff in the short term that's going to be quite fun too, as we're working towards that short to medium term future. So in the next week or two, we'll be releasing pets. We'll be doing the whole carnival situation. And we'll be moving on to Ronin too. So that's been a huge piece of news that we've been really waiting for. And we're really excited to onboard new users who have been waiting until we get on Ronin to move in that direction. So thank you guys so much for just being so patient. We have some fun stuff coming. And I think now what I want to do is just kind of answer questions, and then we'll go basically off of that. I think we'll probably get into some interesting routes and tangents with that. But yeah, again, I just want to thank our community. I want to assure that you guys that, we hear feedback. We're taking it extremely seriously. Company direction is changing a little bit, focusing more on Web3, focusing on token, and focusing on the next steps. So yeah, you'll see some stuff change over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, if you have any questions for us, please throw them in the YouTube live chat so we can bring them up. And with that, we'll get started. We've been asked a few good ones along the way. Is there any specific one you want, Luke, or just like start off? There you go.
Yeah, I just pulled this one up. So this is exactly what I'm getting at. A game must be an interesting game. A game must be interesting to be a game, and not one mechanic for growing crops. We've been doing this for a year without a goal. Yes, you're completely right, Soroka. So that's exactly what I'm getting at. We have one core loop in the game right now around resource collection. Most games, they have multiple game loops that build off of this resource collection loop. The resource collection loop that we have right now, it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. But on its own, it doesn't stand. And that's what we need to basically get to you guys. We need to get you a more compelling reason to be farming these crops. And that's what I mean when the team is changing direction and focus a bit. Instead of focusing on some of these events like we're doing with other spec, instead of focusing on some of these other experiments, this team's going to get a bit more narrowed and focused. And it's going to be less running experiments for the next 2 to 3 months. And it's going to be more focusing on actually getting another game loop out that's going to be a bit bigger of an investment, but probably a better long run bet. And the goal at the end of the day too is like, give us enough runway and give us enough time to make like 2 to 3 to 4 bets like that. And the ideal situation is we release this new game loop and it hits in the way that we want it to, but also we need to be realistic and make sure, okay, can we give us enough time to like make sure that we have like 3 to 4 shots of like drastically different gameplay. But that's the focus essentially. Like we really need to focus on upping the gameplay and upping something to make it more interesting. So we have these pets coming. That's a really good route to go down. And we'll start to run experiments. We'll see how you guys interact with these pets. These pets are going to be releasing right when we go on Ronin. Basically, we'll be doing another event. It'll be like a 33-day event. I think how it's going to work is you'll get access to a carnival. There'll be mini games. You'll earn carnival tickets through these mini games. There'll only be like a max number of tickets that you can earn a day. We don't want you grinding forever and ever to earn these tickets. But basically, every single day, there will be 3 pets minted if you open up these mystery boxes. So that's the exciting and fun part. And yeah, these mystery boxes will work a bit differently. So just note that if you're early and you're one of the first people playing the carnival games and you start to open up boxes day one, you might have a better chance of getting a pet because, however many boxes are open day one, guaranteed 3 pets on that day, guaranteed 3 pets on the second day, guaranteed 3 pets on the fourth day, that kind of stuff. So start opening boxes quickly and early, and you might have a better shot at them. In this event, there are only going to be 100 pets minted. There'll be Genesis pets, and all the pets have in-game utility day one. So they'll work in game, they'll follow you around. We have a new fun game loop to experiment with that. It's more like a Tamagotchi style loop, so you have to take care of your pet. But you'll also be able to show them and flex them because they'll follow you around in game. Every other player will see them.
Okay, yeah, and that was just kind of answering Nellie's question here. What are we supposed to do for the next 2-3 months? The carnival is coming out. There will be a lot of fun content with that. So don't worry.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, also note too, when I say that we're going to be adding more game loops on, this resource collection loop will stay intact. It might look a little bit different in the version of chapter 2. Some transparencies. I've been obsessed with bonding curves lately, and I think there might be a very interesting way to incorporate bonding curves into farm ownership and farm access. So that might change the way that people are able to access farms and grow new crops, access industries in the future. But that change won't happen until chapter 2 as well. But the resources that you gather will be used whenever we add that new game loop addition, basically. But what that new game loop addition is going to be adding is more significant sinks of the resources. And that's going to require some balance, some optimization, but we have some people working with us right now to make sure that we, kind of have that all figured out. When we release this game loop, it'll probably be more of an MVP style game loop. So, we'll start to add progression. We'll start to add, more and more functionality and things to do on top of it. But that's the focus. The biggest thing that we think we need is, and this is a great segment there too, is we need winners and losers in the game. For the long-term game loop, especially that battle game loop as well, or that risking game loop. Right now, if you're playing pixels, basically everybody's a winner, which is a fun feeling. And if you only wanted to farm and just have that be your job, when we start to add other game loops, go ahead, you can still do that. But what we want to start adding is elements of risk, reward, and basically creating winners and losers in the game. That's just the fun part of the game a lot of the times. Right now, if you want to be a winner in the game, the way to win in pixels is, either cornering an item or, making a good bet when it comes to farm neighbors or things like that, which is interesting meta gameplay. But I think we can really expand upon that when we start to introduce more interesting game mechanics on top of what we have. So that's been the idea.
All right, let's dive into some other questions we had here. So someone just commented, new map is dope. And then I think I pulled aside someone else. Yeah, someone's saying we're making it easier for newcomers. So that's the whole point, right? So Terraria was massive, really, really big. The outskirts, they were fun, but they were kind of empty and it was a little confusing. You get lost. So we just wanted to bring everyone together into one map. And I think that change has been super successful. It's just more fun this way, right? So I'm really glad that you're enjoying that update. Thank you for fixing boxes fast when mini games. We've kind of talked about this a bit, but there's going to be a lot of mini games in the carnival. And thank you for your patience with the box issue. Obviously, that was something that we didn't anticipate happening because it was due to load. Yeah, thank you for your kind comments.
Yeah, and the unfortunate part and the good part about this box bug is that they'll be fixed for pets, so this won't be an issue with pets. As Dank Bud says, you guys are the guinea pigs, and we really appreciate you for being guinea pigs. We're excited to get stuff out, like the token, to make sure that you guys get rewarded for being guinea pigs. That's my next focus, basically, and that's what we're going super hard on. My own personal focus and responsibility for the next 2 to 3 months will be leading product, making sure that we're building the right stuff, making sure that we're really directed in, building for the right value and for the right people, and then also making sure that we get the token out. So facilitating everything else around that. What's great is, we're basically closed with fundraising now. It took very long. The market's slow, but now it's picking back up again. And obviously we've seen some great traction over the last month or two. So now we can shift focus towards actually getting the token listed and making sure that we, do the things that we said we're going to.
Okay, more questions here. When Ronin?
Yeah, so team is basically done with all of their own integration. It's cool because we're actually going to be shipping a bit more than we thought we were going to be. We are releasing things like daily tracker on Ronin now too. I think VIP might go live on Ronin as well. But yeah, we want to ship it all in one go basically. So we'll have Ronin authentication, we'll have Berry withdrawal deposit. We should have Katana support. We should have pets on Mavis Market. And we should have all the activity tracked on Ronin too. So Ronin will see a pretty good DAU boost in terms of chain and users on it as well from the users that we're bringing there. So tons of stuff and excited about that. Working with the team to confirm a date, but I think on our end, we'll probably be ready by next week. And then, yeah, we'll do a marketing push with both sides as well too. So super excited to finally go live with that. To be, second game live on Ronin will be a huge honor. Outside of the Axie ecosystem. And yeah, we've been so thrilled to work with that team. That team's amazing, very high integrity team. And yeah, I couldn't be more, I feel super lucky to be working with them.
Okay, and this was just a follow-up question to what we were just discussing. Are you ruling out expanding the map in the future? Absolutely not. So the problem with Terravilla, how it was previously, is that we had these big hopes and dreams of filling it with things, but then as we explored through the Pixels game loop, it didn't always make sense to put something in a faraway, distant spot in Terravilla Southwest or something like that, right? So we wanted to keep it concise for people to be able to discover these things, but then we had all of these beautiful maps that kind of ended up being empty space, right? So that's why we decided to just keep everything in Terravilla Central for now, and the next time we make the map bigger, it'll be very there'll be a reason for it, right? It'll be very specific. So you saw Shoreline beach open, right? That's a beach with a very specific use case. You're going to see the carnival is going to be in another map, very specific use case. The area is used for a reason, right? So it's going to be something similar to that. Every time that we expand Terravilla, it will be for a reason, and it'll be great. And I'm just so excited about that. All right. Okay, Pixel token, will it have a cap?
Yeah, the Pixel token is a cap token. It's going to interact with, it's going to be very different than the Berry token. So Berry is uncapped. Berries earned directly through gameplay. The Pixel token is a cap token. We can only give out so much of it per month. And the way that we're distributing it is not through direct game loop integration. It's only going to be distributed through the dashboard. So if there's a month where we're not burning as much of the Pixel token, we want to kind of be cognizant of inflation of a token, we don't have to distribute any of it. But obviously, if we don't distribute some of that token, it's kind of a hit to user acquisition. So I really like to think about the token as like a user acquisition strategy and a user retention strategy. So we want to get a token to players who are progressing through the game, who have made large progress into the game. And then we want to give a token to players who are also sharing the game too. Like those are the two metrics that we think about, K factor and retention, because it's going to grow the user base if we do that. So the rewards that we want to give out for the Pixel token are going to be much, much more targeted than the rewards that we give out for the Berry token. Berry, you earn it playing the game on the very first day. Pixel, like, will probably make you work for like a couple days to get it if you're a new player. Like we probably want you to hit day 7, because if you hit day 7 retention in our game, you're going to play it a lot longer. And that's what we're thinking about. So, with growth, it's two things, right? It's getting new users, and it's also keeping old users in. So if we want to build a user base up, we have to create incentive structures, especially with the token, that allow that.
Okay. When will Berry deposit be available again?
Yep, it's going to be live right when we're on Ronin. So excited for that. You'll still be able to deposit Berry from Polygon into the game. But then you will only be able to withdraw it on Ronin. So basically, if you have Berry on Polygon that you haven't moved over yet, you can still get it back in the game, and then you won't be able to withdraw into Polygon. You'll only be able to withdraw into Ronin.
Where will we be able to redeem APE vouchers?
Yep. So as soon as we have the exchange page back live, you'll be able to withdraw APE into your ETH wallet in the same way that you withdraw Berry. So yeah, the vouchers I think are 10 APE each. We gave out 200 APE vouchers, so over $2,000 of APE. And yeah, you'll be able to withdraw it right to your hot wallet from the game UI.
All right. Okay, so earlier you mentioned that the team is going to refocus on Chapter 2, new game loops. That might take 2 to 3 months. This user wants the tea. What's that going to be?
Yeah, so we're pretty convinced that we want to start to add in elements of risk and basically elements of like battle. And I think that's going to look a lot more like something like Clash of Clans. We're scoping it out right now and looking at the systems. And the ideal situation is we kind of want to work backwards. We want to make this about a 2 to 3 month bet. We're working with game designers right now to make sure that we have it scoped appropriately, that we get the base systems that we need using the tech stack that we have. But yeah, expect something closer to Clash of Clans style gameplay involving land.
When will empty boxes be returned? So you should have already received them. Just click on your mailbox and you can accept them there. If you are noticing an issue, please open a chat on the help center. But for instance, I personally had a box that a large box that I didn't get anything from, and I received 10 small boxes in my inventory or in my mailbox, which if you didn't know, a large box is just 10 small boxes. So it's a little faster to open large quantities. So just check on your mailbox. Okay, opening boxes as soon as possible. What if I have to work or in a different time zone? Okay, so this doesn't really matter because you can open the boxes at any point. The trailer is in Terravilla to the right of what is now Pixels HQ, was previously City Hall. So you can take your time and go open them. I don't believe we have a timeline on when that trailer is going to go away. So you can hold on to the boxes if you really want to for a little bit, but I would recommend opening them because they've got great stuff in them. If we decide to take the trailer out of the game at some point, we will obviously give you some warning and some time to prepare to open the boxes that you have hoarded, I guess, at that point. Okay, I've been gathering some info from players, and 70 to 80% didn't know that you can travel to their specs. Can we have some more visibility, even more space, so they can add decorations and utility? Yeah, this is a great point. Maybe, oh, I'm sorry, maybe some users didn't realize that you can travel to each other's specs. You can do so through the Portal, the same way that you travel to NFT lands. There's just like a second line for it where you can search for someone's username instead of land number. But yeah, maybe that's a good point. How would you like to see that? How would you like to see more visibility around specs and letting new players know that they can travel to each other's? Give us some ideas there. I think that'll be helpful. Okay, let's see. Okay, when deposit, not withdrawal.
Yeah, so deposit and withdrawal will be open at the same time whenever we move to the Ronin chain.
Okay. Will we be able to upgrade our lands at some point, possibly with Pixel token?
Yeah, it's been thought about. So one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we respect landowners too. I look at what DGods does with Dust and art upgrades. That's potentially interesting, but also if there's something that's core to gameplay, then we don't want to gate landowners from it. So for example, if we release Chapter 2 and we say, hey, like we really think land needs to be upgraded for Chapter 2, I don't know if I love the idea of gating something so crucial behind a paywall or behind a token wall. So I don't think we're going to lean towards that, but that could be something eventually. When we think about land upgrades and we think about things like that, there's also a balance between pay to win with the premium currency as well. And that in the premium currency would be Pixel. So that's also partly why we like the Clash of Clans route when it comes to like a second game loop. because it's a lot more obvious how to integrate the pixel token to not be game breaking, but still give some advantages and make it worth using. That's one of the key parts. You have to make a token. You have to make people want to use a token. And if there's good gameplay behind it, there's interesting gameplay behind it, it's going to be more worth it to use it.
Okay, so I was mistaken. The person's comment before, they were talking about opening pets because, as you said, if you're kind of sooner in the game, the more likely you are to possibly win, get an advantage, that sort of thing. So I kind of have a bit of a mixed response to this. My first response would be, I think it's about every 24 hours things reset. So you do have like time, like every time zone has an opportunity to participate. Now, if you have a busy personal life, busy day, that sort of thing, and you miss out, it's just kind of part of the gameplay in a way, right? Like, we want to encourage people to come and play and have fun within Pixels, and this is a way of doing that, right? And like having a lot of fun and kind of like adding a little bit of like disruption of harmony, which we've talked about a lot, and Luke just mentioned winners and losers. Like, it's a game, right? So if you're there first and you win because of that, good on you. Like, that's really exciting. I'm so happy for you. We all have things that go on in our personal lives, and I missed a couple days of other spec and I was devastated, but it is what it is, right? So it's just a balance of all of it.
Here, I'm gonna bring up one. So yeah, KG is bringing up a lot of things about content, and this is something actually I probably want to meet with him more to like learn about that. And that's also something I'm learning from the Axie community as well too. What Axie is really good about is Axie is pretty streamable. In our game right now in its current state, not super streamable besides roleplay, and that's actually a huge issue. What I'm also thinking about a lot is there a way that we can create a system that benefits content creators or benefits people who are coming into the game and bringing a large number of users? Because that's super beneficial for everybody in the ecosystem. If we create systems for people, who actually have a following to come in. So one of the things I've been super interested in, I haven't talked about this too much because it's still getting developed, is creating some kind of bonding curve system where there's this interesting relationship that we could potentially introduce that way. So there's a couple things, right? Where it's like making the game more streamable, super important. If we introduce Clash of Clans like mechanics, they're not going to look too much like Clash of Clans in certain ways. It's more about the loops that Clash of Clans brings in that we're interested in. So the battle aspect would be still from your player perspective rather than like an auto battler. It wouldn't be as async. It would be more synchronous than what you see in Clash of Clans. But like, yeah, it's just a high level concept that we like. That 3-loop combination of collect resources, build and train, and then battle. So it probably would be a bit more streamable. And then the other thing I'd like too, and I'm thinking about a lot, is like, okay, if KG is able to, or a streamer like Rohan is able to assemble an army or something like that, how do we reward that? Because that's actually probably behavior that becomes very interesting and the stuff that we want to encourage. I love guilds that have been forming up like TIFF. I'm a huge supporter of TIFF. I think what TIFF has done and created is really interesting. Now, how can we create competition for TIFF? And how can we create systems that encourage people to work together and like fight for a common goal? Like that's what we want at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm excited for KG to build an army and even more bodyguards. Like that's the kind of stuff that we're thinking about and we really want to enable. So that's what we're working with on the design side of things to spec out right now and create systems around that. To me, that's the interesting part about Web3. It's community, it's guilds, it's rewarding people who bring in others. It's the idea like guessing, speculating on certain things. There's like an element of fun gameplay with that, and then it's incentivization, tokens, and adding in risk to everything as well too. And that's the kind of stuff that we're really, really thinking about.
Okay, I just want to point out that there are 345 people in World 1 Theater.
Jeez.
I think that's the most we've ever had in the theater during one of these AMAs,
yeah.
which I first want to say is amazing, but I was worried that because I didn't put a portal, a lot of people wouldn't come. Turns out the opposite happened. So yeah, that's really fun.
Wait, let's do a quick audit. 339 in World 1. It's so I think what actually happens too is StreamYard doesn't count the number of people watching from things like embedded frames sometimes. So there's actually normally significantly more people watching these AMAs than StreamYard shows, just FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the choice that we made.
I
We
know.
like having you guys
I would
engaged.
love to have the real numbers though, because I know that, some creators like Rohan often will stream us on his Twitch channel. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, what are the real numbers? Anyways, we love each and every one of you coming and hanging out with us in the theater and obviously in our live stream. So thanks for coming out. Yeah, he's so streaming. So like, how many people are watching? It's so funny because like I'm very used to live streaming and like talking to my computer, talking to the chat of people that are hanging out with us. But like, yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah,
would love to have you all in a real audience in front of me so I can like see all of your faces.
yeah.
So
So
impactful.
who here in the chat is from the Philippines and is going to be at the YGG Web3 Gaming Summit? If we get enough people saying, Luke, you got to be there, maybe I'll go.
Can you
That's
turn off
happening.
the sound of your in-game? It's playing
Oh, is it?
violin.
I like the sound.
I
Yeah.
love it too. Yeah.
I mean, I have the tab muted, but I didn't have this muted.
Okay. Yeah. As Luke was saying, if you're from the Philippines, who's going to what's the event called again? I'm blanking.
YGG Games Summit, I think is what it's
Yeah.
called.
Who's going? Should Luke go? All right, someone just asked again, when will you return empty boxes? We already did. Check your mailbox, make sure that they're there. If you're having further issues, open a chat on the help center. But I did mention that like it happened to me. I had to make a large box that I got nothing from, and then I received 10 small boxes, which is equivalent. So just check your mailbox. Okay, back into questions. You guys have been asking really good questions today. I just saw this one come in, so we can bring it up. Hi, Heidi and Luke, or H&L. I kind of like that. That's like our H&L. What was the thought process on the VIP Sona 8-hour replenish cycle? I'm interested in the game mechanic. Okay, so this one, it's cool. So first of all, we wanted to bring the Sona into Terraria, right? I mean, we wanted to bring everything into Terraria, but it just makes a lot of sense. Like I found myself walking across maps with new players trying to show them where the Sona was. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So we wanted to combine them into one building for several reasons. One being that, you're seeing the VIP player, so maybe you want to become a VIP, you get it. But also the VIP system is now different, right? It's no longer just standing in the what was pool. Now it's just a click function every 8 hours. We made it every 8 hours so that you probably use it twice a day, but you could use it 3 times a day, which would, if you use it 3 times a day, you're actually making more energy than you were in the previous setup of standing idle in the hotel pool, because it adds up to 1,200, whereas it used to be 1,000, right? So, and the click feature is amazing. It's so much faster, right? You get to just like go in, click, and continue on with your game, right? So it's like a major benefit for our VIP users. So yeah, that's kind of like why we did it. I hope I answered your question. All right.
Yeah, still a lot more questions. So, yeah, there's a few questions here and like a few comments made basically on, the implications of like sometimes we've been introducing new content that changes previous content. And Vanquish also had a similar content. We need clear expectations for in-game items to create a stable economy. Yes, this has actually been kind of a frustration of mine as well too, and something that we're going to be a lot more strict on internally with the team, where it's like that is a part of the game to create the expectations or at least create stable expectations around in-game economy. Partly, the reason the Federal Reserve exists and the way that the Federal Reserve operates when you're talking about like actual economy is they'll forecast their decisions before they do them. They'll say, hey, in a month or so, we're going to be raising rates. That way the market and the economy actually has time to react and adjust and make decisions around those changing rates. And if the Federal Reserve were just to wake up one day and change interest rates, that would have extreme macroeconomic effects on the United States economy and the world economy. Because if you don't have stability and clear expectations around changes that are happening in the economy, that's what creates a terrible market. And we've been creating not a very stable market. By the way, we've been introducing some of the content, which is not okay. And that's actually hurting the game. It's hurting the fun of it. And something that is going to be addressed internally. I'm really emphasizing to the team, we cannot just surprise release stuff. We cannot just create updates and YOLO them. There's a part of like some of the fun of building a game or like doing a startup is that you do things that don't work sometimes, but then that's not always the right approach either, of just doing a YOLO update. Okay, stop. I'm moving away from you guys. Doing a YOLO update and just like releasing things unexpectedly. Like that's becoming in the realm of unprofessionalism right now when it comes to the game, and that's something this team really needs to tighten up, and we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. So yeah, focus is shifting in the team internally around that kind of stuff. We need to be a lot more precise, a little bit less hasty when it comes to releasing things like that. Because if we don't have player trust in the economy, then it's going to make our jobs and our lives harder to actually build out in-game utility and move on to other things as well too. So yeah, there's basically two ways that we need to address this. It's one, like we need to have those end game loops to actually use the items in a smarter way. Then two, we need to be doing a better job of the way that we release to create better and stronger expectations and trust from the players.
Okay. Just looking at some comments here. Can we add a pool just so that you can stay there and look bougie? You can stand in there, you can just chill in there. We're not kicking you out. Luke's not kicking you out. Okay. Let's see some other questions in here. I think I just saw a good one. Oh man. Oh yeah, I liked KG's message here. So Shroom Smash. It was Mushroom Mash. Okay. Is streamable content. Many games like that with leaderboards would be great. Use energy to enter these mini games and increase demand for energy crafters. Yeah, that's a good point. We love mini games. Like, look, I'm biased as heck. I love mini games. I'm a mini game player. It's well known in the community that I just love playing like mobile mini games. Right now, I've been really obsessed with Dots, and they're like extra little feature they have. Like it's like a puzzle, and you got to go and like find the things in the puzzle. I love doing stuff like that. So I'm with you. I loved Mushroom Mash. I was playing that religiously. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see if we can maybe add some sort of like leaderboard feature. I think that's a good idea. We'll chat with the team about that. I will say too, there was a new feature added to it's in the bank. There's a like Barry Millionaires leaderboard in there, so you can see who is stacking it up. But yeah, I really like your feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, so I will say there's going to be 3 new mini games releasing at the start of the carnival, and we potentially could do a few others as well. 2 of them are more social oriented, and they'll be pretty fun. And then the third new one is more like maze puzzle, and then we have potentially another one that we can release around puzzles as well. We've been messing around with Sokoban puzzles. If you guys haven't seen those before, they can get pretty hard. And that might be an interesting one to release too. We have like a couple of them that are ready. If we want to make like a better mini game, we probably need to prepare like 10 or so puzzles to make it actually interesting. Swap them every couple of days. But yeah, those will be interesting.
This user said several times that they didn't sell their diamond before the end of the event, and I'm so sorry, but it is what it is. We can't reopen other spec, so I'm sorry you missed it.
Yeah, so try to open your boxes by like end of the week, or like we'll probably give you 1 week to do it. If there's still prizes left, we might do something interesting. The intention is to give all these prizes out of the pool. There might be something fun there. Just try to open your boxes, let's say by next day in May. And if there's still prizes in the pool, we might distribute them in a fun way.
Okay. So one thing I want to address, I've said this a few times. If you opened a box, didn't get anything from it, you should have received new boxes in your mail. If you're noticing that you still haven't, either open a chat on the help center, but I will just say also, items often stack in your inventory. So like, let's say in a large, I earned like 3 mushroom, I'll probably just get 3 mushroom all in one. So it's not going to look like 10 separate items. It'll maybe look like, I don't know, 5 items if I got a bunch of energy drinks or I got a bunch of other things, right? So they stack. So it might, you probably got all of the things. If you legitimately opened a box and nothing happened in your mailbox, then you should have received more boxes. And if you experience that issue, please open a chat on the help center.
Okay. And note on that too is, yeah, we were able to look and see all the people who lost boxes. Um, and yeah, it looked like about like 10 to 20% of them were bad boxes due to basically CPU load hit really hard when there were like 400 people opening them at the same time. Um, we changed how that system works. But yeah, it looks like about 10 to 20% were dropped. Some people will get like 8 in a row dropped on a CPU spike though. But then, yeah, some of you probably just had boxes that had items stack. Now, note there were some prizes that didn't get distributed correctly. Like, for example, if you got wine, you were supposed to get 12 bottles, not one. And I think we just corrected that this morning. So your inventory should be updated with, or at least you should have got something in the mailbox. And we'll announce that if we haven't announced that. But yeah, basically, you should have got like 12 times the wine in your inbox today if you didn't. So those prizes are a bit better now.
Okay, hopping back to some questions. Any plans for chat improvement? Like I have a contacts list and have some way to open private threads. Crucial for game growth. Someone else was mentioning this too, like in events, like the theater right now, it's hard to keep track if you're having a conversation with someone and there's 400 people in the room.
Yeah, that's good feedback. If I'm being completely transparent and honest about what we can build and when, like this is probably going to go lower down the backlog, but I am interested in this. The stuff I'm more interested in is like the guild slash group mindset. Like, how can we facilitate guild collaboration? Like, if KG were to start a guild, like, how do we make those people able to communicate better and work together better? Like, that would probably be the first thinking of, improvements to chat and communication.
Okay. Another fun feedback. I would love to have some kind of leaderboard within my LAN, like how much time people have spent, how much they farmed, mined, so I can interact with the community with goals and giveaways. Yeah, this is really cool. This is a really good idea. And this is kind of exactly what Luke was just saying about like empowering micro communities basically within and like how can we empower basically is a good word for it. So yeah, this is great feedback.
Yeah, so there's been a question about Sona Portals. Yeah, this is one example of like an in-game item that we released and now we just like completely nerfed, which isn't great. And that's something we need to figure out right away. So Sona Portals are actually one of the more valuable items in the game. On the secondary market, they were selling for like $200 to $300 because they were a huge advantage to have that and a really good draw to new players. Basically, you would bookmark a farm and you would be able to get to the sauna so much quicker than walking over to it. And now that we move the sauna into the main map, it is much more difficult, or it's not as valuable. So yeah, that's something that we're working with people on, but we want to make sure that it's still very worth having. So we might make a change to it, like we might allow a direct warp to another land from the Sona portal, or we've been thinking about a few other things, like maybe we let direct warp to other buildings or areas, things like that. But we want to make sure that we maintain like a level of value that it previously had in game. So expect that to go with the next update. We'll figure something out before that.
When mayor elections start? I was waiting for this question because I know last week I was saying it was going to start last week and it didn't. So the reason for that is we actually decided to refresh some of the good and bad choices that the mayor has to select. So we had to just do a bit of a review on all of that. So it's going to be slightly more significant and impactful this time around, just mixing it up a little bit, disrupting harmony, making harmony, because you got good ones as well. But yeah, it should be a lot more exciting. There's also a mayor's salary of 100,000 berry. So whoever is elected will be given 100,000 berry to use in whichever way they please. They can hoard it, they can keep it to themselves, or they can use it for anything, events, giving out I don't know, whatever they want, right? So there's a lot more to it. So when mayor elections start, been working on it a lot. I would say probably today, if not tomorrow, we should have voting live. It will still be in what was City Hall. It is now called Pixels HQ, so you can head up there. I will announce it on Discord. But if you're just hanging out in game, you can just walk up into that building. I would say, yeah, later today, if not tomorrow, voting should go live. All right. Let's see.
Will you be releasing an updated doc regarding pixel allocations and who qualifies? Yes, that's going to be shifted focus now. So there is one debate on how we do play the airdrop, where there might be a chance that what we do is we release off-chain pixel first in the next like month or two. And that might be something that we can use to gauge interest on things like pets and like how they would mint. So basically, we did an off-chain pixel before we actually do the allocation. Basically, you would see your allocation, the pixel token, if you participated in the play the airdrop, just about a year ago, and then be able to spend it, but you wouldn't be able to withdraw it yet until it goes live on chain and do all of that kind of stuff. So that's potentially interesting. So I think that's probably the plan. Either way, we need to get this ready regardless in the next like month or so. That way we can actually move on to pixel listing and do all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, team is thinking about this a lot lately. And yeah, I want to get this part sorted quite soon. You guys have been waiting long enough. We got to get this token out.
Okay, let's see. If I've had lands on multiple hot wallets for a long time and want to move them to a cold wallet, will we be able to add old wallet addresses for Pixels allocation?
Yeah, so we have like multi-wallet support right now on accounts, and that's something that we just have been working with a lot on the Ronin integration. So basically all accounts will have to have a Ronin wallet, and then you'll be able to add hot wallets like ETH wallets and stuff like that to the account as well, to still be able to access interoperability or other partnerships that we're about to do. And that's one of the things that we're thinking about. It's like your airdrop will probably be tied to your account rather than a wallet.
Okay. We have a lot of questions, but we don't have a lot of time left. So, Luke, are there any specific questions you wanted to address in the last few minutes here?
Ooh, I haven't looked at some of the more recent ones. I can't answer this. I don't know why I answered this. I don't know why I pulled this. I can't answer that.
Oh, sorry. I was just pulling up a funny one. What did you pull up?
Any chance we can implement some music during energy parties and game music? Yeah. So I've been messing around when I have some time, kind of experimenting, since we're going to be releasing realms, right? Realms are basically going to be like a creative mode of pixels. We're going to be able to design your own map with your own assets. I've been experimenting with like adding back some of the live streaming stuff that we used to have, like the events stuff that we used to have. There is some interest in that, and there might be something there. So, when I have actual free time, and I feel like doing work that's not just like this other stuff, I've been coding that myself, getting back in the grind, getting back in the code. So I think that's something that we're kind of trying to work towards and release. It would be spatial audio chat on land and then spatial video chat if it was something that people wanted. I think we'll probably release audio chat first, and we'll probably release it on realms before we release into the pixel stuff.
Okay. All right. One more question. Let's see. Oh my God, there were so many good ones today.
That's the second one. I don't hate this one, to be honest. Well, that's an interesting idea.
All right. Yeah, someone just saying, now I'm like, oh my God, one more question. There's so much pressure for the one question. Someone talking about mod tools. Yeah, we've been chatting about this a lot. Here we go. Any leaks for APE integration later this year with Ronin migration?
Yeah, so I will say with like any Axie asset, we want to be really careful and make sure that we do it really right. That's a potentially very high activation. So we're probably, if we work with them, we're going to do it in a different way than we've done other, profile integrations, and there might be something interesting there. Yeah, that's all I can say. Like here's just some random ideas. This is nothing confirmed, just complete speculation on my end of just feeling out some ideas. But like, potentially what if we did, you could bring in your Axie as a pet for Pixel rather than minting a new pet that we provide. Or, what if we use them in certain interesting ways? Like there's some cool stuff that has potential. We've done other land integrations. What if we integrated Axie plots, things like that? So this is just all like complete, just ideas throwing out, nothing confirmed. And yeah, we've been testing some things out. But like again, if we go down that route of integration, which I think there's potential and like openness there, then we just want to make sure we do it in the right way. So we probably treat it differently than something like fishballers or subway rats.
All right. Okay. Oh my gosh, there's just so much going on today. Well, anyways, we really appreciate all of these amazing questions, you guys, and feedback you've been giving us. It's really important to us. I know KG just said 5-hour AMA. I would probably pass out after that. Like these things, like we love going live with you guys, but it is a little tiring. I'm not gonna just, we're totally open and honest with you.
I was in the Discord for like 5-6 hours, just there with you all yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, so come hang out with us there. But yeah, thank you so much. We really love seeing and hanging out with all of you guys live every week. I saw earlier Rohan said that he's streaming and he had like 116 people on his live stream. So we're at 116 right now in here. So yeah, amazing. Thank you all for being here with us. One Pixel's a jail.
That is actually something. So we do something with bots where like we thought that might be a funny thing to like send them to Pixel's jail at one point, but you don't want bots to know that we know they're bots, so we didn't do that for that reason.
Yeah.
But I still like the idea. I just want that power myself, to be completely honest, to put people in jail. So maybe it's not because you're a bot. Maybe it's just because you didn't give me enough loaves one day that I'll put you in jail.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, all right. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. And I think.
Yeah. Okay. Last point. I just want to drive across. So again, we really, really appreciate everybody being here. I hope there's this trust between us and you guys that we listen, and then we're genuinely trying to make the best thing possible for all of us. We've let some of you down in certain ways, especially over the last day or two, and it's something that I'm hyper aware of right now. And again, we're going to be making changes, like significant changes, to make sure that not only are we better moving forward, but we're actually having everybody's best interest in mind, and that we're making the right choices. Like if we continue in the same direction that we've been going down, we've done some interesting stuff, but I don't think it's enough to win. And if we want to win, we have to change some things up. So, we're very aware, and yeah, we just appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah, everything you just said, exactly that. I tweeted the other day, community is at the heart of everything we do. And it truly is. It really, really is. And so, the things that happened yesterday that negatively impacted some of our community members, it really hit me really hard. So I'm excited for the future, and having all of you here with us and your support means truly everything. So yeah, we try to be as transparent as we can. So yeah, there you go. Barry job for all people in attendance. You guys are getting energy. Come on. Thank you for all your answers. Thank you guys. Amazing. All right. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.